When the power goes out, when the water stops running, when the systems we rely on begin to fail, what happens to us? What happens to the people in our community? We often think of disaster as a great equalizer, something that changes everyone in the same way. But that's a dangerous misunderstanding. Mechanical systems, like a bridge or a power grid, might degrade uniformly. But human systems? We're far more complex. The moment real strain enters a community, something fascinating and often perilous occurs. Our personalities don't change, they amplify. The differences between us don't shrink, they accelerate. Traits that were subtle or manageable when life was stable suddenly become glaring and intense under pressure. Some people will grow quieter, retreating into themselves. Others will grow louder, demanding to be heard. Some will instinctively seek control, organizing and directing those around them. Others will actively avoid responsibility, hoping someone else will step up. Some become rigid, clinging to rules and routines. Others become erratic, their behavior unpredictable. This divergence isn't random, it's predictable. And understanding it early is one of the most critical survival skills you can develop. It prevents misinterpretation later on, when the stakes are highest. You're not just surviving the withdrawal of infrastructure. You are navigating a rapidly shifting personality landscape. The key thing to remember is this: stress reveals, it does not invent. A crisis doesn't create a new personality in someone. It simply strips away the social buffers and reveals their default coping mechanisms. In our stable, everyday society, social norms, routines, and clear expectations smooth over our differences. We have schedules, defined roles, and visible lines of authority. We operate within structured boundaries that keep our more extreme tendencies in check. But when those boundaries dissolve, when the script of daily life is torn up, people revert to their baseline stress responses. The person who was always a little decisive might become inflexibly rigid, unable to consider alternatives. The one who was always cautious might become completely paralyzed by fear, incapable of action. The agreeable friend who always went with the flow might suddenly find themselves unable to enforce a necessary boundary, even to protect their own family. The assertive leader might escalate conflicts prematurely, seeing threats where none exist. The difference between a stable society and a strained one isn't about morality, it's about exposure. Pressure removes the disguise. It shows you who people really are at their core. This isn't a judgment, it's a diagnostic tool. Modern personality research gives us a great framework for understanding this. Often called the Big Five traits: openness, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. These traits are remarkably stable throughout our lives. Under the immense stress of a collapse scenario, they don't change, they just turn up to 11. Someone high in neuroticism, for example, will have their threat perception dialed way up. They'll be the first to notice danger, but they may also see danger everywhere, leading to heightened anxiety and panic within a group. A person high in conscientiousness might become an incredible asset, meticulously organizing resources, creating schedules, and establishing rules. But they might also become overly rigid, struggling to adapt when a plan inevitably goes wrong. Someone high in extraversion could be fantastic at mobilizing people, bringing the group together and boosting morale. But their need for social interaction might also lead them to take unnecessary risks, increasing their exposure to danger. Understanding these patterns is not about labeling people. It's about anticipating friction before it tears a community apart. In an environment of scarcity, this personality diversity is both a powerful asset and a significant liability. Imagine a survival group made up entirely of high dominance, assertive individuals. How long do you think that group would last before it fractures from internal power struggles? Not long now. Imagine a group composed entirely of highly agreeable, conflict-avoidant people. They might get along beautifully. but they could fail to make tough decisions or enforce necessary boundaries to protect their resources, making them vulnerable. True resilience requires a balanced distribution of these traits. It requires a mix of thinkers, doers, leaders, and nurturers. Leadership, in this new context, shouldn't just go to the person with the loudest voice or the most charisma. It should be aligned with temperament. The detail-oriented, conscientious person might be the perfect quartermaster, managing supplies. The calm, agreeable individual might be the ideal mediator for disputes. The extroverted, optimistic person could be in charge of morale and community cohesion. By acknowledging these personality patterns early, you can predict and mitigate conflict. If you know certain individuals are prone to anxiety, how you manage and disseminate information becomes critical. You can't just drop alarming news without context. It needs to be filtered and presented in a way that empowers action rather than panic. If you know others have a tendency towards overconfidence under pressure, you need to build in safeguards. Their bold plans shouldn't be dismissed, but they should be subject to a structured review process by more cautious members of the group. This isn't manipulation, it's strategic calibration. It's like tuning an engine. You're designing your community's response system around the known temperaments of its members. You're leveraging strengths and mitigating weaknesses. The most catastrophic mistake a community can make is to misunderstand this dynamic. When people's amplified traits start causing friction, it's easy to misattribute these predictable stress responses to moral failure, selfishness, or disloyalty. We start thinking, that person is being difficult, or they're not a team player. In reality, they are just being more intensely themselves. Collapse doesn't make people different. It makes them more of who they already were. It holds up a magnifying glass to their core temperament. When the quiet person becomes silent, they aren't being sullen, they are processing. When the planner starts over-organizing, they aren't trying to be a dictator. They are trying to manage their anxiety by creating order. Accurate interpretation of these behaviors is what separates groups that survive from groups that fracture. It reduces unnecessary conflict and allows you to address the root cause of the behavior, which is the stress itself, rather than attacking the person. So, as you think about preparedness, don't just think about food, water, and tools. Think about people. Observe the people around you now. In times of relative stability, notice their tendencies. Who is the planner? Who is the peacekeeper? Who is the risk-taker? Who is the worrier? These are the clues to how they will behave when the pressure is truly on. Building this understanding is not a soft skill. It is a core survival strategy. It allows you to build a more resilient, adaptable, and ultimately, a more humane community, capable of weathering any storm, not by changing who people are, but by understanding them more deeply than ever before. Thanks for watching. If this gave you a new perspective, consider subscribing for more content on building resilience. Stay safe and stay aware.